Welcome, Site Stewards. This is Sean Hammond, your Site Steward Coordinator for the Arizona Site Steward Program. Welcome to another round of videos. This is part of our video series that we are creating for the new database that we are now using for the program. So today, though, we're going to walk you through the steps on how to submit a vandalism, or damage report. So part of it will be submitting your hours, and then the actual report showing the damage or vandalism. So basically, you go to visit a site and you find some type of damage. Maybe holes have been dug, maybe a petroglyph has been stolen, or attempted theft. Whatever the situation is. And it doesn't have to be man-made. You may need to file a damage report due to cattle overrunning an area, for example, maybe trampling down fencing, to reporting damage that's being done from erosion. So we're going to walk you through those steps today. All right, so after you log into the database, as always, you'll come to the main menu where you have your main folders here. But 99% of the time, you're always going to be just clicking on site tracking and reporting. This is where you will go to submit your reports. So we'll click on site tracking and reporting. Now, each site steward is different. Each of you has your own sites that you manage, or I should say monitor, and so whatever your view here of the sites, those are going to be your sites. So under title are going to be the sites that you are helping to monitor. So obviously, you're just going to go through your list, and you're going to pick out the site that you just went to visit that had some type of damage. So in this case, we're just going to use our test site, the John Muir Homestead test site, for our practice today. So you click on the site. Now remember, every site in our database, roughly 2,500 sites, all have a folder. So basically, each site has its own folder. And within that folder, which is we're in now, okay, we're in the John Muir Homestead folder, you have these subfolders down here at the bottom. Site reports, correspondence feature, which we'll be talking about today, site kits, and so on. But for our purposes today, again, and this is something that is something that you pretty much always do when you access a site, is you're going to be reporting your hours, and then today we're going to be reporting a damage at a site. You always do this here where it says site reports. So down in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to click site reports. We need to create the report. Near the top here, you'll see the add button up here at the top next to back button and print. You'll see add. You'll go ahead and click on add. Now at this point, you need to tell the computer what type of report needs to be filed. We only have 2 reports, so it's very, very easy. The first report that we have is just for it's a standard report. It's only used when you go to a site and there's no damage, no vandalism. It was just a regular, standard visit. But for today, we're reporting on a vandalism or some type of damage. So we're going to click the drop-down box, and we're going to click the vandalism report. The vandalism report is also where you will put your hours in as well. The same fields in the standard report are now in the vandalism report. So you select vandalism, you click save up here in the top corner. Save button's always the top right corner. And then click return to components. Don't worry about anything else over here. Just click return to components. And the computer has now generated the report specific to the John Muir homestead here. And down here in the bottom left-hand corner under components is our vandalism report. So we'll click on that. And let's just briefly go through the vandalism report, and then we'll go into more details after that. So first thing I like to remind everybody is when you are accessing a section of the database that you've never been in before, please just take a few moments to read the instructions. Okay, it's just very important that you make sure you have a full understanding of all the steps that you need to take in completing a report. So first, start with those instructions. Now, for the vandalism/damage report, section 1 is where you're going to put your hours. Okay, as you can see, these are the same fields that are in the standard report. Section 2 is where we start to get into all the details of what you saw at the site, what kind of damage, or if it was vandalism. These are all the details. This is where you're going to provide the bulk of the information related to what you witnessed. Now, section 3 down here, this is where you're going to upload photos or videos, because as I've mentioned before, this database can handle videos. So you're welcome to upload, a handful of pictures, and if you want to add videos to help, really kind of reinforce what was seen out at the site, you're welcome to do that. And then you can upload documents too, such as like a map, if you did a map, or if you decided to do a sketch. So we'll be talking about all 3 of these sections here. So let's go ahead and come back up to the top. Now we got to hit the edit button to activate the first 2 sections, section 1 and section 2. Okay. So we click edit. Please enter your first and last name. And again, a reminder, you are logged in as yourself. Okay. So because you're logged in as yourself, you cannot report, you cannot submit a report, using your partner's name, for example. So, you're logged in as yourself. I'll use myself as an example. I'm logged in as Sean Hammond. And let's say my wife and I went out to visit an archaeological site. We found damage. And I decided to also do my wife's report. Well, I'm logged in as myself. I would not put in my wife's name in here. Okay? That's not how the system works. In fact, you won't get credit for the report. So you want to put your name in here. If you want to also do your wife or your partner's report, you're welcome to do that, but you have to log in as them. So, but we're logged in as Sean today, and we need to put my name in here. By the way, when it comes to submitting a vandalism report, very important. If you go out with a partner, or maybe you're in a group of 3 people or more, only one of you will actually do the vandalism report. All right, the rest of you will click on the standard report. Remember we have these 2 reports, a standard report, and then we have the vandalism report. So only one of you does the vandalism report. The others in your group will do a standard report. But when they do that standard report, where they just fill out the information, the date, the hours, down here, they would fill out that that my partner so-and-so is completing the vandalism report. So, all right, so activity date, we have this little calendar icon here. that we can click on, and a little window will pop up. Makes it real easy instead of having to put in the numbers and the slashes and whatnot. So let's say we went out on the 10th. So we just click on the 10th again. Click on the calendar icon, and it just brings you up the calendar. In this case, it brings you right to April. Today, the 16th, is when we're recording this session. So the 16th is highlighted in red. If you need to go back a few days or even longer, you can do so by going back a month or so on. But just remember that, especially with the vandalism report, you need to be submitting that report right away. Okay, put in your hours. Now, again, you're going to put in your hours based on your full round trip, okay, to the site, as well as all the time that you spent on the site, and in particular, completing this report. Because when you complete a vandalism report, I know that it can take sometimes 30 minutes or longer, possibly, depending on what needs to be put into the report. So add your time spent doing the report itself too. So let's just say it was 2 hours drive time, a round trip. Let's say we spent an hour out there, and then we spent an hour doing this report. So just put in your 4 hours. Your vandalism activity type, of course, 99% of the time it's going to be a site visit. Miles driven, so list the miles that were put on your vehicle. If you were a passenger, if you were just a passenger, just put 0 in. But if you drove, then put in the miles that it took to get to the site. Let's just say it took us 40 miles round trip to get to the site. All right, BLM, like you find on the standard report, BLM has asked us to keep track of CATO. Now, CATO is their centralized data dispatch unit. BLM requires that all site stewards that are monitoring sites on BLM land requires that you call a 602 number. Let me actually bring it up here for you. Yeah, so when you are monitoring a BLM site, make sure you're calling this number, and you're going to talk to an individual, and just leave let them know who you are, and where you're heading off to. Very simple. In fact, put that number in your cell phone. Okay, so is it a BLM managed site? Let's say it was, so we click yes. And then this is the question that they would like to know. Was CATO called for this trip? If no, please explain below. And there are going to be some reasons why you have to put details down in here. Let's take one real specific example. When you're in a group of 2 or more, only one of you needs to call CATO, okay? Not, each of you does not have to call CATO. So in response to was CATO called for this trip, you would put down yes, and then you can just make a note, CATO was called, but it was my partner, Barbara, who called in for, the 2 of us. So just leave a little description. But yeah, if you didn't call CATO, just explain why you didn't. In some cases, some of these sites that you visit, you literally just drive to a site in town. You get out of the car and you can see the site, and that's it. Those are some small reasons why you might not call CATO. But it's just a good a good idea to call CATO no matter what. And again, it's just a phone call, and it's there for your safety. If you're not that familiar with CATO, what will happen is that when you call Cato to let them know where you're going to go visit, they will of course track this, and if you don't return that night, the next morning they will, and you don't call them back, they will start trying to reach out to you. If they can't get a hold of you, then they will start contacting your archaeologist for that region, the regional coordinator. Eventually, I will be asked or contacted. So Cato is there to make sure that nobody, that people return home safely. Okay, so section 1 is done. Put in our hours, our miles. Let's come down to section 2 now. And again, this is going to be where you're going to explain what exactly you saw out there in the field. The first real item is just who did you go with? All right, so whoever you went with, just put down their names. You actually put in their last names as well. So, all right, coordinates. Now, not everyone knows how to do coordinates. That's okay. We certainly are going to be providing more training in the future on learning how to take coordinates. But if you do know how to take coordinates and you're able to pinpoint the location of the damage, you're going to click yes. And then these two fields pop up here, the datum field and the UTMs. And the datum drop down, if you know this information, you select the correct datum, and then you add, whatever the UTM location is. Again, I don't have a red asterisk next to these. These are not required. If you have this information, this is very, very helpful to the land manager who will be reviewing this document, as well as if it's a vandalism report, law enforcement will more than likely also be reviewing this form. Okay, last visit. I should have showed you this earlier on. So in fact, let's go ahead and do that. The last visit, before you start your vandalism report, check to see who was the last site steward to go out and visit the site. So let me backtrack real quick. Well, I tell you what, let's do this. I will show you how to find the last person that visited. We'll do this after this one. For now, we're just going to put in a pretend date. Again, you click on the calendar icon. And let's say that you looked at the records, because again, this is one of the benefits of this database, is you as a site steward, you're able to see when your fellow teammates who also monitor the same site are able, or you can see when they went out on their last visit. So by knowing the last visit, by knowing when somebody last went out, you're able to answer this next question where it says estimated age of vandalism. Let's say that somebody last went out on the 20th of March, okay? And it's clearly vandalism that that other person would have seen. Now, we went out on April 10th, okay? They were out about 3 weeks before. So now we probably know with a certainty that the vandalism took place within the last 1 to 3 weeks. And here are your choices, right? A week, 1 to 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, maybe within 3 to 11 months, a year, or possibly more. But this is an important question, and if we have a really good idea of how when that vandalism took place, that can help law enforcement in their investigation. All right, vandalism codes. over the years, land managers, site stewards, and regional coordinators have come up with a list of roughly 30 items that you may see out in the field related to damage, not just vandalism, but damage of many different types of damage. So over the years, we have this list. That list is all throughout here, and you're going to select whatever vandalism codes that you saw out there. Could be erosion, damage from vegetation, graffiti, and so on. Let me show you the full list in its entirety. So let me switch screens here for a second. The Site Steward guide that I have provided all of you, your regional coordinators would have sent you a guide back in March of 2021. In that guide, the very last slide, page 31, I have a screenshot of the vandalism codes in its entirety. I am recommending to all site stewards to print out that last page, get familiar with all these items that you may find out in the while you're monitoring a site, and keep the page with you as well when you go out to monitor sites. But that's the very last page of the guide that walks you through how to submit hours and then vandalism reports and damage reports. So, but yeah, and just looking at this list again, some of the things that we typically see are new trails being built, potholes often. Fires made on site is something that typically we see. Those are things that you want to report. Collectors' piles and some of these items may not require a vandalism report. I think a collector's pile would be one example. But many of these, though, you're definitely going to want to report some type, you're going to want to report a vandalism report. So human remains uncovered, absolutely, that needs to be reported right away. Petroglyph thief, spray paint. Down here, again, we have issues where erosion is a factor, damage, remove vegetation, that could be from cattle. ATV tracks, we see a lot. We see a lot of fencing down. So yeah, so you'll come back to, well, let's get back to our report here. Now, sometimes you may see 2 or 3 different things out in the field that you need to report on. Let's say trails and potholes, and then maybe some signs were removed. This particular field where all the vandalism codes are located is called a multi-select field. It means what it's called. You may find 2 or 3 different things out there, and you have to select those 2 or 3 things. There's a little step that you have to take to select them all. For example, if I clicked on new trails or roads and trails, but then I wanted to select potholes as well because I saw potholes. If I just simply take my mouse and I click on potholes and nothing else, I just lost the roads and trails one. That's no longer highlighted. I select the new trails again, and that the potholes disappears, okay? So what you have to do, and it's very simple, if you have a personal computer, a PC, you're going to take your other hand and you're going to press down on your keyboard the control button. All right, so you're going to press down on control, then you're going to click the next item. Then you're going to do it again. Maybe you have to scroll down a little bit further. Let's just do fires made. So again, you're going to scroll down. Do not hit the click button yet. You're going to press down on control, then click on fires made. You can take your hands off the off your keyboard, you can scroll back up and you can see that the 3 items I wanted to highlight have been highlighted. Now, most of you have PCs. A few of you do have Macs. And for a Mac, instead of hitting Control, you just simply hit Command. So you hit Command and click. So after you select your vandalism codes, they'll be highlighted. Then you're going to move down here and answer these questions. So for example, did you take pictures? If there is damage of any kind at a site, you have to take pictures. We need photos. So make sure you take photos at the site. So we want to be answering yes. Now, did you make a photo log? Basically, a photo log is, let's say you took 5 or 6 pictures at the site. You can put those 5, 6 pictures all on a Word document, okay? And just label each photograph, tell us what we're looking at, and just save that Word document, and then you can upload that photo log, that Word document down here under Vandalism Pictures, Videos, and Documents. So instead of uploading 5 or 6 pictures, you can put them all on like a Word document. If you know how to do this, if you want to convert that Word document to a PDF document, that's great. You can do that and upload as well. So you have a choice there. And then, as mentioned earlier, videos. Videos are something that you can now do and then upload into the database. I've been able to upload videos of about 2 minutes, but boy, sometimes they time out depending on the size of the video. So I recommend that if you're going to take some videos, let's say you want to do 2 videos, keep them within a minute and a half at the most. Again, because there's only so much storage that a database can take. So yeah, if you do videos, great. Add them as part of photos that you take. And again, these are all items that law enforcement and the archaeologist who's going to be reviewing this report, these are all items that will help them to determine what exactly took place. Did you make sketches? Now, of course, most of us don't make sketches. Of course, you're welcome to do a sketch. But we do have one land manager at this moment that has asked its site stewards to do a sketch, and that is Southwest Archaeology. We don't have too many sites with Southwest Archaeology, but if you are monitoring a site from them, and they're down here, if you look down here, Southwest Archaeology sites only. If you are monitoring a site from them and you do find damage, they're asking for you to do a sketch. And if you click here, where it says sketch document, if you click here, that is going to bring up a sketch document. So what you want to do is print this out and then do a sketch the best that you can of what you saw. So I'm going to add this document to the guide, and that way you have it on hand, especially for those of you that monitor sites that are with Southwest Archaeology. So you can keep this with you when you're in the field. But yeah, it's just a basic document where you can do a drawing. Okay. Was the vandalism witnessed by you? This is where this document can change a bit. Most of the time, site stewards will never actually witness vandalism taking place while you're out going to monitor a site. It does happen though. It definitely does happen, maybe once every couple years, but it does happen. Now, if you witness the if you're actually witnessing vandalism, right, of course, the first most important thing is your safety, right? You are not to approach anybody that might be doing damage to a site. And you're to stay safe the entire time. But if you did witness the vandalism, there's some additional questions on this form that will expand here once I click yes. So let's click yes. And so we have this new section of questions. And again, keep in mind, this is one of the most important things you will do as a site steward, is to properly report what you have witnessed if you come across any type of damage, in particular vandalism. It's one of the most important things that you will do, and it's extremely important that you do it well. And it's as detailed as possible for that land manager, that archaeologist, and law enforcement who will be looking at your report. So suspect observation, of course, if you did happen to see someone doing the damage, if you happen to see anything of note, please indicate that in here. List any witnesses. So obviously you're going to list the people that are on your group if they were with you when you saw someone doing damage, and anyone else that may be a passerby that might have been out there. Equipment, these are going to be things like maybe you saw a person up ahead with a shovel or a pick, whatever it is. So you're going to indicate the type of equipment if you saw anything. Now, vehicle make, state plates, and so on. This is something that I do see a lot with site stewards, is they'll go to monitor a site and they'll go to an area to park where they just never see anybody parking there at all, whether it's off-highway vehicle users or anyone parking at all. And suddenly they go to the site and there's a vehicle there. If you can do it safely, take a photograph of the vehicle, license plate information, but only if you can do it safely. But we do see a number of reports where people do report vehicles in the area of a site that normally they shouldn't be there. So just add that information in. And then the suspect count, did you see one person or two or three or whatever it was? If for some reason there was contact, maybe the person that committed the vandalism actually walked by you and you noticed a shovel in their backpack, and when you got to the site there were holes everywhere. If there was any type of contact, list that information in here. Did you contact some type of law enforcement? Of course, if you are seeing vandalism taking place, you will want to contact law enforcement. There's a telephone number that's typically provided in your site kits of who to contact. Each land manager has different numbers or different process. So check your site kits, and if you don't see that information, talk to your regional coordinator about it. And then there's one last section here. Most of this information is just some drop-down boxes, some check boxes, and of course some text boxes where you put information in. If you have some additional information that you need to provide to the investigators, then you're going to put it here under additional notes. And these are the things that we're looking for right here. Is there other information that you can add that can help in the investigation of the damage. Describe what you saw when you were there. Describe any and quantify any visible subsurface artifacts. And then we definitely want to hear from you. Tell us about that threat, and then if you have any recommendations, right? Fencing needs to go up. This type of fencing should go up. Whatever the situation is, if you have a recommendation, please let us know. You can add all that information here. Okay, again, here's that Southwest Archaeology section. If you do monitor a site and there's been damage, you're going to check this, and then you're going to complete that sketch. One last important item. 1 second, I'm going to just put no on this just for sake of showing you this quickly. When you are ultimately done uploading the photos and you're done with this report, there's one last step that you will take, and that step is to go to the correspondence folder that is part of this, the site folder. Correspondence folder is a subfolder, as I mentioned, those 4 or 5 subfolders that you'll see. You will be contacting your fellow teammates, the archaeologist, other land managers, whoever is assigned to this particular site. Your final step is you're going to send an alert to them using our correspondence feature. And this is a really easy feature to use. So I will walk you through that right after we're done with this last section here. So just make sure you check mark. It's just a reminder to not forget, because this is one of the most important steps, is when you submit the report in this database, when you submit the report, it doesn't automatically alert the regional coordinator and the archaeologist like it did in the old system. It's up to you as the reporter to do the alert. But the bonus of that is that you actually get to communicate with your fellow site stewards. In the past, that was not something you could do. You didn't always know who your site stewards were, but in this database, you will know who the site stewards are that monitor a particular site. So, all right, now when we're done entering in information here in section 1 and section 2, before we move on to section 3 to start uploading photos, we have to save the top 2 sections. Right here it explains that you'll click add. You'll click an add button on the far right side. Well, over here should be an add button. You're not going to see that add button until you save this top 2 sections. So we come up and we just simply hit save. Now it's requiring me to complete all fields with a red asterisk, so I must have missed something. Let's see, what did I miss? Let's see if that was it. Okay, there we go. So now it's in editing mode, or it's out of editing mode, I should say. So now when you scroll down after you've completed your first 2 sections, there's our add button right there. So we're going to upload some photos, and this is how you do it. And this is pretty straightforward. There's nothing different about uploading any photo or document or video that you would do in any other system. So you click the add button. It'll take you to a new window. Again, read through the instructions. The first time you're on a new page. It brings up this page, and down here at the bottom, this is where you're going to add a description of this particular photo you're going to add. And then right here where it says choose file, that's where you're going to click to then open up your computer files, and then you'll go to find the photo wherever you stored it. So you click Choose File, and it opens up your computer, okay? And then you're gonna go to wherever you stored those photos, okay? So I'm just gonna click on some random pictures. So yeah, just put in a description. You know, you could say north-facing petroglyph shows how attempted theft of the petroglyph, whatever it is that we're looking at, just provide a short description. Come up to the top, click Save. That will then take you back to your report. Scroll down to the bottom, and there you go. Here's the description, and here's the photo. All right. Now I want to show you one other item here. Let's you know, if you have 3 or 4 or 5 pictures, you do need to keep hitting the Add button. Okay. So let's just do the Add button one more time. Takes us to this page. You know, again, find another photo. Click Choose to Upload. Okay. Come to the top. Click Save. Our report is back up again. And you can now see the 2 photos that I uploaded and the 2 different descriptions. Let's say that, you know, again, you took 5 or 6 pictures and you're going to upload your best 3 pictures. And you decide after uploading this first picture, for example, you decide, you know, I think I have a better picture. I'm going to replace that one. So how do you replace a photo that you've already uploaded? It's very simple. It's the description that you will click on, okay? So if we want to replace this first photo, we come over here and we click on the description. That's it. Click on the description. It opens up that other page. Remember where we put a description, where we uploaded the photo. You can delete the photo by clicking delete, or if you're just simply replacing it, just click Choose File, find another picture, click Choose to Upload, and it will replace this picture once you hit Save. Okay, so we click Save. We're taken back to our report, and there you go. We just replaced that first photo with another one. That is it. That is how you complete a vandalism report. Now, our last steps, of course, are going to be to submit the report. The way you're going to do that is you're going to scroll up near the top here. And again, after you've filled everything out, you're going to click Mark as Complete. Okay? When you hit Mark as Complete, you're taken back to this view right here of the forms, in particular the vandalism form. You have to make one last click, and that's going to be to submit the report. Now, just a note of caution, we are finding that site stewards, some site stewards, are forgetting this very last step where you submit the report. By saving it and by hitting Mark as Complete, that doesn't complete the process. You just simply click Submit, and that will complete the process. It'll ask you a question. When you click Submit, it'll just let you know that after you hit Submit, that this is going to be locked. So you won't be able to edit it at this point. So you click OK. And then you're just taken to the screen that says you've successfully submitted your status report, okay? So you're done at this point. Maybe you have another report to file because you visited a couple sites that day. If that's the case, you just click menu. Of course, we do have one last step when it comes to vandalism report. We need to go back to the actual folder for that site because we need that one last step, which is to contact our fellow site stewards and our RC and land manager about the report. So we're going to click here. Click here. That'll take you back to the folder, back to our John Muir folder. Down here in the bottom left, we have our folders, our subfolders. By the way, before I jump into correspondence, let me show you where I talked about earlier about knowing the last time somebody went out to visit the site to help complete that vandalism report. Click here where it says site reports, because this is where we all go to start a report up here. But instead of doing that, right, we just want to look to see the last person that submitted a report. Now, typically, the last report that is submitted is going to show up at the bottom, okay? So before you go to create the vandalism report, you need to find out the last time somebody went out to visit the site. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the ID over here, the ID number of the last report. So you'll click on it, and this will bring up the report for you. You're going to scroll down to the bottom, okay? Standard report, activity date, when you last went out. Again, you're looking for the last time somebody went out to visit the site so you can answer that question about how old we think the vandalism is. Okay, so yeah, that just kind of backtracking there, but let me click on return to components, and that takes us back here to our folder. So you've submitted the report. The final step next is for you to click the correspondence feature, because you're going to send out an alert, a message to your teammates. Click correspondence. Again, first time you're in here, read these instructions. And over here on the far right side where it says add, okay, over here on the far right side, add, you're going to click add. And I'll show you how easy this is. You do not need to know all the emails for your fellow site stewards that monitor this particular site, our John Muir homestead. You don't need to know all their emails. The names of everybody associated with this site are going to be listed here in the to section, so this box. So who you're sending it to. Scroll down, you can just see various names. Again, these are fellow stewards, land manager, RC, and assistant RC. These are the folks that are associated with this particular site only. So what you do is you can click on everybody. This is another multi-select. So again, you can just click on the first one, which is always going to be my admin, because I like to review the vandalism reports myself as well, so I see what's going on out there. But you click on me first, and then you can again press down on the control button if it's a PC, and then you just keep clicking on everybody. But there's an easy way to do this, especially if you got a lot of people in this to field. Click on the top person, me, scroll all the way down to the last person, which in this case is a person named Wanda. Take your other hand, press down on your keyboard, Shift key. So press the Shift key, then click on Wanda, and then everybody gets highlighted. Now, if for some reason somebody is missing in here, and they more than likely they won't be, but if there is somebody that needs to also see this report, then you will need to enter their actual email address. So just putting their name in won't work. It works up here in the to field, but not down here. So if you do by chance have to add another email, put in that person's full email address. Subject matter, right? We filed a vandalism report. So we're going to put something real straightforward. Vandalism report submitted. Now the message, okay? I've already created a message for you, and it's up here in the instructions where it says messages. It's this first one right here under number 4, under examples. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it in here. Basically, you're just telling everybody assigned to the site that you have submitted a vandalism report. For them, for your teammates, your land manager, and so on, to view this report, they will log in to the database. They will go to the John Muir homestead or whatever the site it is that you're reporting on. They will go to that site, and then they will click on site reports, and then they'll look at that whole list of reports, and they'll look at the specific report that you just submitted. So you're just basically telling them to log in and to refer to the report number. So make note of the report number. Remember, each time you create a report in the database, it gives it a number. So maybe that number is 13 this time, or maybe it's something completely different. But that's the only thing you really have to change in the report is this. You actually don't have to put your name. You don't have to sign your name down here because when you hit send, everyone will get an alert message, and it will show you, it will show them who sent it. So you don't have to put your name in here. It'll show the date. In fact, I'll pull up an example of what that email would look like. By the way, on your vandalism reports, you do not have to put or upload the same photos again. This is something I found with some of the reports is folks would complete a vandalism report. They would upload the photos in the report because that's where they belong. But then they would come down and use the correspondence feature, which is great, perfect, that's what you should do. But then they would do double work by clicking on choose, and then they would start uploading those photos that they just uploaded in the report. You don't have to do that for this. You just simply hit send. So now for these attachments down here, really a good example of why you would upload photos is if you went out to visit a site and you came across a swarm of bees, okay, so something safety related, something dangerous. Let's say you were able to take a photo of the beehive, right, or something like that, something related to being dangerous. Then you would come in right away and you would use the correspondence feature to alert your teammates right away. Please don't visit this site at this moment. I came across a swarm of bees today. It's dangerous. Don't go there. Or maybe the trail to get to the site's been washed out during the monsoons. If it's safety related, you're going to use the correspondence feature. And if you were able to take photos related to whatever it is that is a safety issue, great, then you'd upload them here. And I even have a message for you up here about safety. So you can even copy and paste that. But for your vandalism report, you just put in the basic information, then you click send. And yeah, let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can show you on another form here. Okay, there we go. All right, let's blow this up quite a bit. So when you send out an alert, your teammates will get an email that comes from AZ Site Steward at webgrants.com. WebGrants is the name of the system. Anyways, AZ Site Steward is what they'll see. They'll see the headline up here, the John Muir Homestead. So they'll see the name of the site. They'll see the subject that you put in, vandalism report. They'll see the name of the reporter, which will be you right here, sent by. And then they'll see the message. Now again, please log in, go to the specific report, and then they'll log in. Let's go back out here. They'll log in, they'll come to site reports, and then they'll look for the vandalism report that you submitted. By the way, going back to the correspondence feature, one last item to bring up. Each time you use the vandalism or you use the correspondence feature to send a message, it will leave a permanent record. So think about how important these permanent messages are for site stewards, land managers, RCs that come after, like you've left the program, right? Because, you know, when we communicate using our regular email, those messages eventually get lost, typically, as people leave. But when you use the correspondence feature to send out a message about a dangerous situation that you should always be aware of, or to alert people about vandalism, this is important information that we leave for those that will come after us. And that's part of why this new database is so important, because it enables us to do that, to leave important information for those, again, that come after us. So that completes our lesson plan for today on how to submit a vandalism report. We will be having additional videos as well to follow. But thank you for listening in, and hopefully this will help you when you complete your first vandalism report. Thank you.